What's up, y'all? Hello. Wow. Okay. All right. Welcome. I'm going to talk about money today. I'm going to talk about money. And I'm going to talk about money because the average person don't understand when it comes to money, you have to respect it. You have to respect money. And simple facts is this. If you don't respect money, you'll always be broke. Ben Affleck said in the movie Boiler Room, those that say money is the root of all evil simply doesn't have it. I assure you, money is not the root of all evil. As a matter of fact, I'm going to quote the great Mike Tyson, the boxer. Mike Tyson said, if you think money is evil, try living without it. Money is in fact your God. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's your God, but it's somewhere around there. You need it to live. Money is simply our form of trade. Back in the day, we traded beans, we traded salt. Back in the day, we traded. There was no currency. As a matter of fact, in the 13 colonies, we wasn't on a uniform money system. All right, so that changed. We actually was trading gold, silver. We were trading things. There was no money. There was no currency. So you will not have nobody work, have a job today under the context of I'll pay you in anything other than currency. That is the form of payment in today modern times. So I'm gonna break it down like this. What is going on? Jeez Louise. Okay, hold on. Create a title. Okay, so people, about 15 years ago, I got introduced to Dave Ramsey. And right in those 15 years since I got introduced to Dave Ramsey, I kind of went all around the world when it came to money. Now, Dave Ramsey said that the slave is borrower to the lender. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about some various other things when it comes to money and the unfortunate perspective that people don't understand when it comes to money. So first, I want to tell you, if in fact you're new to the channel, please by all means hit that subscribe button. Also look below the video for the Red Pill Fab reboot. That link for Red Pill Fab 2.0 is below the video. All right. It's below the video. So check that out. Please hit the subscribe button if you're here, like and share my videos, please, by all means. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what Dave Ramsey said, that the slave is a borrower to the lender. People, if I owe you, you own me. If I owe you, you own me. Simple enough, right? If I owe you, you own me. You understand this perspective when you go buy a car with no problem. You go buy a $20,000 car, you put a certain amount of money down, you know you don't own that car because there's a lien on it. The slave is a borrower to the lender. So what that simply means, I'm sorry, the borrower is a slave to the lender. I just played that back in my head. The borrower is a slave to the lender. All right. The borrower is a slave to the lender. Simply means if I owe you, you own me. So once again, you go buy a car for $20,000, you put a certain amount of money down, you know, because there's debt, you know, you don't own that car. You don't own that car until you completely pay off the debt. Now, if you look in the description of this video, I made comment about a person that has $100,000 in cash, but has $100,000 in debt, and how Dave Ramsey taught me that if you have debt, you don't have money. If you have debt, you don't have money. People, I'm going to tell you how I got my life designed. And I made sure that when I was younger, when I got to this point in my life, I wanted to make sure that this was the position I was in. I remember when I was 8 years old, I told my mom, I got to start saving my money. She said, for what? I said, for when I get old. My mom looked at me like she saw a ghost and said, son, you have an entire life ahead of you. I remember when I went in the military. I simply went in the military for one reason and one reason only, to save up all my money to buy a house. I didn't go in the military for nothing else. I simply went in the military to take all the money that I got, come out and buy a house cash and not have a mortgage. What I am doing now as a person that obtained a mortgage last year in 2020, I want this mortgage paid off in 3 years. I don't want debt. I understand debt. There's a lot of people out there that don't understand debt. There's a lot of people out there that's under the impression that I got $100,000 sitting in the bank and I got $105,000 worth of debt, and they're like, I got 100. No, you don't. No, you don't. So when Dave Ramsey says that the borrower, is a slave to the lender, what he is simply saying is until you pay off your debt, you don't have money. Now, as I stated, I've been listening to Dave Ramsey now for about 15 plus years. And my life went through ups and downs when it came to money. I would be on top today, low. At a certain time, I'm making money. I sold legal in 2019. I just was up and down. At 52 years old, going to be 53 this year, I am at the point now where I want nothing to do with debt. I understand now that when it comes to debt, there's a lot of people out there that think that they got $100,000 in the bank, and it's like, well, I'm saving that for when I get old. No, you have to live for now. You live for now, you pay off the debt, and then the monies that you make today, you can restock that $100,000 that you said, I'm going to go ahead and give this to these individuals, pay off all my debt, and now I can now take the monies that I'm making now and restock my living. The borrower is slave to the lender. This is what Dave Ramsey said. These are facts at 100%, but I need y'all to follow me. All right? I need y'all to follow me. All right. So I'm gonna break it down to you. I'm gonna come at it like this. I'm gonna use me for an example. In 2012, I had came across $113,000. I brought my Honda. I brought my my Honda Silverwing that I have, paid cash for that, and I paid off about $40-something thousand in debt, and I put $50,000 away, and the rest I just got rid of debt. I lived easy, and then next year I moved, and that was that. 2016, I sold my house. I came across $97,000. I brought the BMW 850, paid cash for that, and I kind of got stupid with it. And what I mean by stupid, I had my rent, and I was leasing 3 commercial properties. In addition to leasing 3 commercial properties, for those that was following me at the time, I had the Kia Optima Hybrid. I had the truck for my business. I started accumulating a lot of debt. I had relaxed my stance on money. And I stopped listening I had not been listening to Dave Ramsey for a minute. So I started listening to Dave Ramsey again, and I started recalibrating my brain on listening to Dave Ramsey. So let's break it down like this. If you got $100,000, $105,000 in debt, and you got $100,000 in the bank, and you think that every month that $105,000 worth of debt accrues probably $1,500 in interest, and you're just stuck on the fact that you got $100,000 sitting in the bank, you need to change your financial advisors. You need to change your financial advisors. People, I'm going to explain something to you guys right now here today. I have an extremely low outgo lifestyle, an extremely low outgo. So when my income comes in, it's more effective. I have an extremely low outgo. Can I go get a brand new $100,000 Corvette? Yep. I could do that. Well, I could try, but let's just say they don't want to finance me. So let's just say I have the ability to make the payment if, in fact, they want to give me the loan. I want to be clear about that. What's today? Today is the 21st of March, 2020. I'm sorry, 2021. And if I've driven 10,000 miles this year in my personal vehicles, 500 of those got put on my premium brand vehicles, which keeps the maintenance low. I am constantly reevaluating and increasing my income. I am not increasing my outgo. Because of that, the $11,000 left or so that I have in debt is shrinking at an enormous rate and will be completely diminished by the end of June, at the latest, the mid July. I will have no debt other than this mortgage. Why am I doing this? Because every time I make $1,000 and I kick my heels saying, Woohoo! I made $1,000. Let's just say they take out $225 in taxes. Then another 150 of that goes out of the window for interest. So how am I saving money if every month I'm getting accrued interest? It's just not smart. So what I'm doing is my first priority, getting in the trucking game, my first priority, get rid of my debt. That's my first priority. Get rid of my bills. And the beautiful thing about it is I have a $3,000, two $3,000 and a $5,000 secure line of credit. Once I pay that off, I get $11,000 back. We're about to hit April, and it's going to get to the point where every week I'm just putting at least $500 on debt. You got to learn how to respect money. So let's talk about that for a second. Respecting money. Let's talk about respecting money. And I am going to use something to bring my point home. I'm going to use this to bring my point home. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Here we go. All right, we're going to try to see if I ain't got it hooked up to the Bluetooth.
Your age doesn't matter. Your race doesn't matter. Your geographical location doesn't matter.
Come on, don't do this to me.
Your income doesn't matter. Your age doesn't matter. Your race doesn't matter. Your geographical location doesn't matter. There's a thing that you and I are dealing with in your money, and it's called math. And none of those things I just mentioned give you a pass on math. And where people get themselves in trouble, including when I went broke many years ago because I was stupid, we get ourselves in trouble when we don't bother and do the math before we do the transaction. We're the stupid woman from San Diego who leased her dog for $5,400. We make $90,000 a year, and somehow in our brains figure out that our children deserve a $50,000 Honda SUV. And now we have to take the kids out of private school because we can't pay the payments on the SUV and the private school because we didn't do math. We're 21 years old. We buy a $10,000 car, run up $10,000 in credit card debt, and have $10,000 in medical bills and make $30,000 a year. When you make $30,000 a year, there's nowhere in that plan that $10,000 car makes sense. There's nowhere in that plan that running up a bunch of credit card debt gives you any room to breathe. You already can't breathe. We have 3 kids. We make $28,000 a year. Should I go back to work, the woman asks. $28,000 income with 3 kids. Our health care is provided by Medicaid, which is welfare. Because we qualify. If I go back to work, we won't qualify for that. And if I go back to work, I'll have to pay for daycare. When you make $30,000 a year, there's nowhere in that plan that $10,000 car makes sense. There's nowhere in that plan that running up a bunch of credit card debt gives you any room to breathe. You already can't breathe. We have 3 kids. We make $28,000 a year. Should I go back to work, the woman asks. $28,000 income with 3 kids.
Now, I'm talking about right now respecting money. People, the reason why a person would make $28,000 a year and have 3 kids, they don't respect money. They don't respect money. There's no way on this planet a person could make, or there's no perspective that a person could use to validate having 3 kids and making $28,000 a year. There's no way to validate that. And the problem is because individuals do not respect money. When you don't respect money, you get your money in a lot of trouble. Not respecting money is just as equivalent as thinking that every time you eat food, you got to indulge. That's why your shoulders don't look like mine. Not understanding that, there are discrepancies about organic foods. Try to buy organic whenever you can. I read an article that said that they ain't gotta, and then you turn around and now you eating because you're using that as a respect factor to organic. Not respecting things will always have you in a quagmire when it comes to it. Your health. So, you can sit down. I can't tell you how many women I met that made some stupid, hideous claim about when I dance, that's my workout. But here's what a dummy would say. Yeah, I do hip hop abs. I do the hip hop thing. No, I work out when I go out and bounce it, baby, in the clubs. Give me a second. Oh, gosh, what am I going to do with myself? Appreciate those thumbs up, y'all. Come on, stop doing with me. Don't be up with me here. For individuals that are here, you can reboot a Red Pill Fab 2.0. Link is at the bottom of the video. I got 3 videos over there in Red Pill Fab right now. The link is below. Go subscribe, bring us back. But if you don't respect money, you'll do things like insist on going to go buy a car knowing you can't afford it. What you just heard Dave Ramsey say, and I'm going to play it again. He said there is something that he said, well, let me start at the beginning. He says your income doesn't matter because people are going to say, I'm broke and I need the loan stuff because I don't have no money. So he said your income doesn't matter. He says your age doesn't matter. Don't matter. Young, old, don't matter. He also said your geographical location doesn't matter. And then, of course, he's taking a stab at those hideous individuals that said, well, I'm from the hood, and niggas in the hood ain't got no money. Okay. So you're exempt from thinking that every time you eat, you got to eat out. So he covered all the bases and said, it don't matter. You can bark up whatever it is you think you want to say, et cetera, but he's saying it does not matter. There's a thing that you and I must do before we do the transaction, and it's called math. And chances are, more so than not, every time somebody does something, more so than not, a high percentage, like 90% of the things that people do end up costing you some type of money. So you didn't do the math before you do the transaction. People, I'm here to tell you, individuals don't respect money. I'm also here to tell you that after it's done, you're supposed to be better off than you did before you started it. Let me give you an example of what I mean by individuals don't respect money. People, when I had that Kia Optima hybrid, I was paying $803 a month total for the car. Total. So let me help you understand what I mean by total. With the auto insurance, because I had it under my business, so it was on a separate policy. I couldn't have a 2-car discount. Auto insurance, car note, gap insurance, warranty, $803 a month. So allow me to tell you what happened with the car. I brought the car and I had the car for about 7 months. And after, when I brought the car from the 7 months later, I had went into I need to get rid of debt. I was like, and I'm going to tell you what happened to make me respect money. People, if you, I'll come back to that. Let me write that down and come back to that. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna tell you what happened. So, and I brought it, and when I went there, I drove the 7 Series when I went there. I always make sure that when I go purchase a car, I take a badass car there so they'll know what I really mean when I say I don't really need this car. So when I went there, it was, well, are you going to trade this car in? No, I'm not. Blah, 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 blah. So I gets the car, and then 7 months later, they came and repoed it. So they came and repoed the car. Here's the deal. When they repoed the car, I had about $900 credit because I just used that car to do Uber and Lyft. So every day that I made money, I went into the app. I brought it at drive time. I went into the app and I put $25 on my account. So I just had money on there. Anyway, so, and what they don't do is take the money out early so you can avoid the interest. So I'm going to be clear about that. So I goes to walk my dog in the morning and the car is gone. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So I didn't flip out. I waited about 4 or 5 hours later. I called them up. I said, yeah, did you guys come take the car? And they said, I gave them my information. And they had me on hold for about 45 minutes. And when they had me on hold for 45 minutes, I knew they messed up. So the lady comes back and she's talking a mile a minute. Okay, we came and got the car because you didn't have the car registered and blah, 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 blah. I said, hold on, slow down, lady. I mean, damn, slow down. And then she's like, I said, I had the car registered. I got plates on the car. Yeah, but you got out-of-state license. You got to register, you got to get licensed in this state. I said, hold on. I told these people when I brought the car what it was for, blah, 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 blah. They was adamant. I said, no, I'm not. I said, lady, I'm 50 years old. I don't jump through hoops for a car. I said, you better call the dealership and they'll tell you. I came there in the 7 Series. I said, I'm not jumping through hoops for a damn Kia because I respect money. I need y'all to follow me. Now, they thought that it was going to be me just, okay, is that what I got to do? Okay. I said, well, listen, keep the car, give me my money back. They was like, well, all you have to do, I said, no, I heard you. What they didn't know is I was going through a debt shedding spectacle in my life. I was like, I got to get rid of all this debt. But the thing that made me, I was going to tell you, I almost forgot. The thing that made me say I got to get rid of this debt is I got up in the morning, like a month before that. And me and Diamond's routine, my dog, rest in peace, Diamond dog. Our routine was I would take her to the Walmart and do my running and let her do her exercise. And one morning, I turned on the app, the rideshare app. And it was like, I opened the door and a job came through and I kind of nudged her in the car, nudged her in the house. And she turned around and looked at me like, what this is not the rest of the routine. Now you're supposed to feed me. When I realized that I did not have time for my dog, I realized that I was in trouble. So I'm going to talk about time is money, but I want to finish telling you guys about this situation. So they was trying to get me to jump through hoops for the car. I said, lady, I don't jump through hoops for a car. I'm too old for that. And I got too many cars. So I went and talked to an attorney, and the attorney was like, so they repoed a car when you had a balance? I mean, you had a credit? I was like, yeah. I let them listen to, because what happened is when I was speaking to him, I was recording them and I loaded up on my YouTube channel, but I kept it private. So I let him listen to him. He said, wow, that's a doozy. I never heard of that before. Something's going on with them. Called the Federal Trade Commission. If you ever have a problem with anybody, call the Federal Trade Commission. Call the Federal Trade Commission. The lady was like, well, you sure? I called them the day it happened. Ironically, when I was on the phone with her, they called. So I told her, hold on. And I said, if you want to come in on a call, she said, sure, why not? I heard her listen to, I said, but I have a balance. Yeah, but. The lady hung up. She said, wow, I never heard that. Anyway, about 3 weeks later, I get a check in the mail from Drive Time for about $1,309 or so. And it wasn't even on my credit. Remember, that was 2018. I bought my house 2 years later. My credit is good. So I didn't have a repo on my credit. But once again, when I brought the car, I did not respect money. Between the 7 months that I've owned the car, I started to realize that I was in trouble because I did not respect money. When you listen to people that are broke, more times than not, those individuals don't respect money. Going back to what I said in the beginning, if you have $105,000 in debt and you have $100,000 in the bank, if you think whatever account you got that $100,000 in, I'm almost willing to bet you're not beating the interest that $100,000 is giving you. For example, if you add up all your interest every month on that $100,000 in debt, you're supposed to be able to beat what that money is gaining you. And I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. So remember, respect money. When you respect money, you'll have money. Just remember that. It's an easy perspective. It's a real easy perspective. All right. So check this out. Time is money. Time is money. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know where your mindset is, but time Time is money. Once again, individuals that are here, you can check me out over on the reboot of Red Pill Fab 2.0. The link is below the video. Go subscribe, then bring us back. New to the channel, man, please by all means hit that subscribe button. Give me that thumbs up as well. So I'm talking about money. And I'm going to talk to you about how time is money. So let me break something down to you. You do a 40-hour work week. You make $10 an hour. You get $400 after taxes. You bring home $290. It took you 40 hours to make $290. Somebody say to you, hey, man, I'll give you $430 to drive me up to New Jersey. True story, by the way. I had an Uber ride that left from Virginia. I took them all the way up to New Jersey. I got $430. It took about 7 hours to get there, about 6.5 hours to come back. So in 13.5 hours, I made $430. Time is money. If you don't understand this time is money perspective and you got $105,000 in debt, but you have $100,000 in the bank, look at all the things that you are doing to just to pay the interest. If you're adding up your interest every month and your interest every month comes to $1,600, even if it just comes to $300, that's $300 out the window. Because I got to cover all the grounds, because there's a lot of intellectual people out there that saying, well, mine ain't that amount. Mine is only. Yeah. If it's over $1, stop being a big dummy. You big dummy. Back to what I was saying. Time is money. One thing that I've noticed in the community, you guys call black. There's a lot of individuals that spend more of their time from the leisure perspective than they do in the production perspective. In the black community, there are so many beautiful events. There's, all white events. There's my mama's turning 50. There's weird glam parties. There's all these dumb innuendos about how you need to divert from taking your money, getting yourself ahead, the time that you spent to get the money to get yourself ahead. But then you turn around and that time just goes in vain and wasted, because you're taking the money that you created and you're doing extravagant things like buying all these expensive footwear, all these hair ensembles, and et cetera, et cetera. People, I assure you, that is not how I spend my time. I make sure that my time to get ahead and my time that I spend in my leisure, time is true leisure. And what I mean by my leisure time is true leisure. People, there are individuals that think that you have to go spend endless amounts of times on vacations to get away from their life, the life that they created, the life that they have the ultimate say in how it's going. Appreciate those thumbs up, y'all. People, I'm going to tell you something. My life itself is a vacation. My home is a beautiful mind resort. When I get up every day, I say, good morning, home. When I leave, I say, goodbye, home. I'll be back, because my energy lives here. Don't get me started. But I don't need to go on vacation to get away from this life. After all, I created this life. There are individuals that think that the vacation perspective about vacation is, oh, you got to do it because you only live once. Well, if you only live once, how come you're living a jacked up life? Oh, don't get me started. Time is money, y'all. Time is money. Remember that. Race and interest. A race that I assure you that you are losing. A race that I assure you you'll never win. I don't care how fast you are. So we're going to talk about racing interest. because racing interest is what the average person that has $100,000 in the bank is doing when they have $105,000 in debt. I want to be clear about something. Dave Ramsey said that the borrower is a slave to the lender. So at no point in time are you one up on using your credit cards under the perspective of, oh, well, I get frequent flyer mileage points. And please allow me to talk about those. I got debt. I don't want to listen to your prospective enthusiast. Yeah, I know Dave Ramsey says go buy things with cash. But what he's saying is, and what you're missing out on is all the steps that come up to you getting to that. You see, when I listen to people rebuttal Dave Ramsey, they say, well, everything doesn't apply because I don't have money like that. Yeah, but you're forgetting the steps that he say that gets up to that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get back to those dummies that are racing interest. People, I have a Toyota Corolla. I also have a BMW. No modifications to each. Both of them are as is, as they came from the manufacturer. Of course, Toyota Motors of America and Bavarian Motor Works of Germany. Well, yeah, Toyota Corolla is built in Alabama or something like that. Nonetheless, I could be wrong about that. But if I was to race, the G-force that I experienced when I punched the gas pedal in the BMW, I gotta stiffen up my neck. Oh gosh! In a Toyota Corolla, I don't have to do that. So if they were to race, it wouldn't be close. And I'm telling you that your racing debt and your loss or your gains to interest, it's not close. Whatever you are making on the interest that you got or whatever money market you got the $100,000 in, I'm almost willing to bet if you paid off all your debt in its entirety, if you just paid off your debt, all right, where was I? I was saying, so talking about racing debt. If you added up all of your interest and whatever money market, whatever, if you got, let's say your interest came to $1,500 and you gained $2,000 that month off of interest, which is impossible. Then you only gain $500. How about you pay off your debt, and then what new gains that you get on your whatever, your $50,000 now or your $20,000 now, all of that money that is a true gain. But we also got to talk about losses, because you could have a down month. Let's say you have a down month of $1,000. Your money market, whatever you got, $1,000, right? You lost $1,000. Well, with your interest, you got to add that up too. So whatever you paid in interest and $1,000, you got to add. So if you gained if you paid $1,500 in interest and you lost $1,000, $2,500 of your dollars just went out the window in the ether. Gone, Miss Smarty. LL Cool Smart. You got that Benz outside, homie boy, and you bouncing, baby. You can't beat interest, people. You can't. I don't know what you're driving. I don't know how fast you can run. I don't know what it is you're thinking. But you can't beat interest. You can't. You can't. Appreciate you guys for listening. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you said, hey, man, that ugly guy is at it again. And I definitely appreciate that. Once again, you can look below the video. Red Pill Fab 2.0 is the reboot. I got it going on now. I got 3 videos over there. I'm going to do some videos today. Get on over there, check that out. Also, once I get into my truck and I start getting in my truck, I'm going to create a trucking channel. And that's going to be under Double Tot Don Tam Enterprises. And I got some things going on, and I'll talk to you guys about that as time go on. The book, Child Support Don't Do's, is getting assembled right now as we speak. And it's just going to add. I got a lot of things going on this year, man. I really feel good about what I'm doing. I really feel good about my energy. And you guys stay tuned, man, and just watch it as it unfolds. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later, y'all.